What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 18 of my reviewing and ranking Phish's live series, the live Phish series that was, there were only 20 in the first batch before they went, I think, more digitally oriented, but we're on number 18. I've been both looking forward to this release and dreading making this video because I'm not sure I can praise this enough as I want to praise it. One of the best sets Phish ever dropped. This is from May 7th, 1994. TWEEZERFEST, as it has become known, though I do think Tweezer Factory would have been a better name because it's at the Bomb Factory in Dallas, Texas. I was at this show. I was on the rail at this show. In fact, I'm almost positive that head right there where the arrow is, I'm almost positive that's me. This picture is from the Bomb Factory. I'm pretty sure that's me. That's where I was. I have my backwards hat on. Right next to me would have been Billy and Megan to my left, but we can't see them because they're blocked out. Yeah, I think other people were there. What's his name was there? Crazy Greg, that dancing dude, was there. But yeah, third release in a row that I attended, interestingly enough. But yeah, this was a fantastic. The second set is just absolutely amazing. This is sort of, if you're not familiar with this set, this is sort of an epic historical, almost like one of the all-time great Phish moments in like the history of their tours, because the entire second set, they play a song, an incredible song, they play another song, the only flaw in this entire show, and then they play what is essentially a 67-minute tweezer. They play tweezer, they jam it, they go into a bunch of other songs, they go back into tweezer, they go into other songs, they go back into tweezer, they do a tweezer reprise. 67 minutes of what is essentially non-stop jamming. They drop a Purple Rain in there. That's kind of a little break that maybe, I mean, really the set list almost could be tweezer, Purple Rain, tweezer, because there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there, but it's the one thing in which they really kind of, there's delineated sort of boundaries outside of tweezer. It's Purple Rain. Everything else is just woven right into the tapestry of it. There's a first set, which often gets overlooked. It's a very standard 94 first set, but standard 94 is a really good 94. 94 was a fantastic year. So the first set, solid first set, but the second set is something special. First set, we open up with a llama. Trey's jamming in early llamas is fantastic. It's aggressive. It's everything you want. We got a lot of Santana note holding in this one. So we got some sort of Santana action. Got a lot of good feedback. Really good aggressive opener. We get a horn, which is awesome. And at the end of horn, we get about 40 seconds of sort of ambient style noodling around. That normally is not at the end of horn, especially in the first set. So it's kind of cool that that's there. That's also showing that the band's already trying to like put out its tentacles and find some tendrils, not tentacles, and kind of seek different venues to play their music. That drops right into Divided Sky, which is always majestic. I said, yeah, it gets weird right before the pre-solo buildup happens. The band's getting sort of funky and kind of playing with, volume and dynamics and stuff like that. Mike's getting super funky, super loud. Then we get a really nice jammed out Divided Sky. We get a Mound. We get a Fast Enough for You, which I think they failed to. They don't want to be the Grateful Dead, right? Obviously, we already have a Grateful Dead. But it would have been neat to see Fast Enough for You evolve into this like second set, like, I don't care what the jam song is, like it's a Tweezer or a Mike's or even a Bathtub or something, and then you kind of go into Fast Enough for You as like a Jerry ballad type thing and then back into the song. I thought they could have done that more often. A Set of a Mule, which I'm not a fan of, especially the live versions. You just get that, yeah. Not a fan of Son of a Mule. Split Open and Melt. Really good Split Open and Melt. Solid 14-minute Split Open and Melt. You get pretty much right when we enter the jam area, we get 5 minutes of like what is standard Split Open and Melt type, Dolly-esque, Escher-esque, just get weird type, twerk, tweeze, like whatever the main theme is type jamming, and then chaos really starts to seep in a really cool way. We get a nice sort of chaotic stretch before we go home, and then the band just starts to slow things way down for the finish. Just like, let's just run out of gas. It's like almost like we're going to coast until we can coast no more. And then they go into If I Could, which is nice. They could have dropped into something heavy, and that would have been a cool contrast, but I think the If I Could works here, especially as they slow down that split open and melt. And then we end with a Susie Greenberg. Susie! Which doesn't even prepare you for what the second set's going to drop. Second set, I remember when they walk out, I think Trey brought a bottle of what I'm assuming was tequila, set it right there on the drum riser in front of Fishman, and then they were taking the swigs of the tequila. They seemed in a really good mood, and apparently they were quite drunk. You don't hear it in the playing, but apparently it let down all of their inhibitions. They were able to just like go. So we get a Loving Cup to open. Fantastic. When I get around to doing a Rolling Stones video and I do the best songs, Loving Cup's going to be on that top 10 best songs video. It's going to be pretty high on that list. We get the only mistake in the entire show. We get Sparkle. Not a fan of Sparkle. But then they drop in a tweezer. And almost immediately, you know this is going to be a special tweezer. Like both, I think John and Trey are both doing like, like making these noises and making sounds. And it's loose, it's rowdy, it's a really good time. Once we get into the jam session, we immediately kind of bring it down low and kind of get into this sort of repetitive, almost hypnotic type jam. And then Paige has a lot going on, and Paige is really like active. Fishman and Trey are still making a lot of noises. And then we get to this part where like, we get a lot of really good Paige. Paige is shining early on in this tweezer. As you know, sort of the musical landscape behind him keeps shifting tweezer-like. But then about the 12-minute mark, things start to get really kind of heavy for a while, and then they get really weird for a while, and then we go into straight up like rock and roll. We're just like, we're just screaming and kind of rocking out. Just absolutely amazing. We get like this start and then shred and then stop and then shred, this kind of going back and forth, really playful section. Then it gets kind of bluesy for a while. Then we go, we have that section for a while where Trey's just going off and then we get low. Trey's going off, we get low. That's really cool. Things get really chaotic for a while. Paige comes back in with some organ energy. This is like, we're going on like the entire first part of this tweezer before we get to the next part. It's like 26 minutes of like just relentless exploration. We get some like mind left, really upbeat mind left body energy jam energy right before we head into the end of this. We're just kind of all over the place in the best way possible. And Trey's being featured. Paige is being featured. Mike and John, of course, are doing fantastic things the whole time. We start to slow things down for a while, right around the 24, 25-minute mark. We start to pick things up. We drop right into a Sparks. Right into the Who Sparks. After Sparks, we go right into a Hey Maka Super Policeman. Right into a Makapalooza Policeman, Makasupa Policeman. And we're not stopping between these. Like we're flowing into these. We're like we're skating just right into a whole new like song. After Makasupa Policeman, we get a digital delay loop jam where Trey starts playing some repeating figures and like digitally delays him, and then the band kind of layers that for a while. Mike starts dropping some really almost like he's playing a song, almost like, I guess similar to maybe what Chris Squire would be playing in Starship Trooper. Mike's just playing like these low, sparse, spread out notes to kind of keep everything together or give the digital delay weirdness sort of a focal point. So we get that for a while. And then Trey steps up. So after the Makasu Policeman, we get another 7.5 minutes of what is called Tweezer on the set list. Trey starts absolutely burst of solo. He's starting to shred. He's giving us like really intense solo burst. It feels like we're going into some hardcore walk away energy for quite a while. It's very rock, but then we lower it back down. And before we head into walk away, we get a Sweet Emotion jam. Straight up Sweet Emotion jam. I think we just get sweet. Maybe somebody says it once, but mainly it's just the music. And then we get this really neat sort of mashup for a while where it's Tweezer, Sweet Emotion, Tweezer, Sweet Emotion. And they're just kind of Trey's going back and forth with those ideas. And then after we get that out of the way, we go into a fantastic walkaway. Walkaway is fantastic. After the walkaway, they kind of jam out of that, and Trey he's soloing, Trey's attacking, he's going at it. We're definitely back into sort of Tweezer territory at this point. We get another 7.5 minutes of like Tweezer action. A piano solo comes in, get some nice piano action. At the end of that, Trey steps up and tries to play It's Ice. Like we fully get a like the beginning of It's Ice. He does it once, nobody picks up on it. He kind of does it again, and I think Mike is like, nope, we're not doing that. And I think Mike's the one that like definitively like shoots it down. So then we get a couple minutes of like playful meandering, right? This is still all one just long jam, man. Then we go into Cannonball, the Breeders' Cannonball. Just absolutely sweet and awesome. I want to say it came out roughly around that time, right? 94, 93. So it hit a pretty fresh song. After the Cannonball, we go into Purple Rain. Out of Purple Rain, we get a Hold Your Head High Up jam. And for the next, like, what is called the Dallas jam is essentially a Hold Your Head Up jam and sort of a typical Trey ending solo to any sort of jam where we're just going to shred and shred and shred and build and build and build and then drop into Tweezer Reprise. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I don't even know. It's absolutely fantastic. I still listen to this. Like this came out almost 30 years ago to the day. I still listen to this. I'm like, oh yeah, forgot about this part. Forgot about this part. This part is good. One of the best things ever. It's just absolutely amazing. I remember after the show ended, the encore is Amazing Grace, and then they do a sample in a jar. I remember after that, the show ended, we all just kind of stood there for a long while, just like, what did we just witness? Like, this is going to be a good year. Saw Phish. I think this was the show in which I fully decided I was going to do the entirety of the summer tour, in which I did. Saw a lot of shows in 94, but this one, absolutely amazing. There's some bonus tracks which just make it better. We get a Funky Bitch. This is from, I was at this show before, also later in the year, November 22nd, 1994. This was my Thanksgiving break. I flew out to Missouri, saw a couple shows, saw Chicago, Minnesota, Montana, did a whole run back then. It was fantastic. Funky Bitch, absolutely amazing. And then after Funky Bitch, we go into a jam. Like the song ends, Fishman drops like a little fill, and we just straight up drop into a jam. And we're jamming for like 22 minutes of like real ebbing and flowing. Like we're going to give, we're going to take, we're going to go aggressive, we're going to chill. Right around the 7-minute mark, things go beautifully spacey. Like just beautifully, just floating spacey. And that eventually builds back up, comes back down around the 14-minute mark. And then we kind of stay chill and beautiful for like the last 8 minutes of the song. Really, really, really cool jam. And that eventually goes into the Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, the Jerusalem chant that they did. Yeah, awesome bonus material, which isn't even needed because the Tweezer Factory is so absolutely amazing. Yeah, you don't need anything else. Yeah, a fantastic show. Like, if you have not heard Phish, like, I think this is the one thing, go listen to this. Like, I can't imagine why you wouldn't be impressed by just the absolute, just swag that they're showing for the entire Tweezer. Listen to Love and Cup, because Love and Cup is an amazing song. Check out Sparkle. I would skip it. But the Tweezer, man, all 67 minutes of that thing are beautiful. Where would I rank this show? I have it at number one. I mean, I have to. It's number one. This second set, it's absolutely amazing. One of my best live music memories in the history of me seeing live music. I've seen a lot of shows. So, yeah, it was fantastic. Even if I wasn't there, this would probably still be number one because I really think that this Tweezer, it's not really, there's a lot of set lists where like, hey, they start this, they go into this, they go into this, they go into this, right? There is something, this was like the first time it was done at this level. You know, we got some 93 shows where they're kind of flirting with this, but the commitment here, at one point, Trey tries to leave with It's Ice, and they're like, get back in here, dude. That's not part of this. That's not the vibe. Yeah, it's incredible. Absolutely amazing. I think they've given interviews about this. I think it was like an intentional attempt to like not ever stop, and they pulled it off. It was fantastic. If I'm wrong about that and it just accidentally happened, let me know. But I'm pretty sure they were like, hey, let's try something. And maybe the tequila helped. But yeah, that's all I got. Go listen to this, people. It's amazing. Subscribe, like, share, leave comments, your thoughts on Phish. Check out Phish, people. It's worth it. And listen to this. Listen to Tweezer. Listen to the whole show. Give the first set some love. First set doesn't get enough love. All right, that's all I got. Peace. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.